In many spiritual traditions, there is a sacred secret that is associated with the concept of spiritual awakening and enlightenment. Although this sacred secret is known by different names within different spiritual practices, it bears a common theme in each of these traditions, which is this. Coiled like a snake at the base of the spine in every human being resides dormant the primordial energy of the universe, and when awakened, it rises up the spine, carrying its full power all the way up to the summit of our brains, rebirthing and resurrecting a power from within. Some refer to this as third eye opening or pineal gland activation. In ancient Indian spiritual traditions, it's known as Kundalini, which can be translated as coiled one. In Gnostic Christianity, it is known as the process of raising the chrism, with chrism referring to the cerebrospinal fluid produced in the brain. In yogic terms, it's sometimes referred to as the spiritual spine. And for some, this knowledge has been hidden deep within their religious traditions, reserved only for the most elite. Behind the guise of historical record, there is a map of the consciousness of man that explains how to raise the awareness into the higher states of enlightenment. We are given clues along the way that we can use to decode and illuminate this path of awakening. The Bible itself is a manual full of these types of clues, and it's written in code for those willing to take the time to decipher it, albeit more than 90% are taught that it's a literal account of historical events. If you are willing to open your mind to the other possibilities and interpretations of this book, I will share some of those here. And regardless of what you believe to be truth, there will be interesting things along the way to think about. The mystery of the words "Christ is in you" is what this sacred secret reveals. The temple of God is your body, rather than a place that you visit. From the 1920 book titled God-Man, The Word Made Flesh, by Dr. George W. Carey, who combined religion, astrology, anatomy, and chemistry in his works, he writes, "Seed, word, and God are all synonyms of one and the same thing, the wonderful creative substance, the universal S, from which all things are brought forth, and in which all things are. The scriptures, or allegories and parables of the Bible, are the only writings that give us information as to what the Word of God is. Therefore, in this book, we will quote what is written there in regards to it. Seed is the cause, the nucleus of everything. Therefore, a seed is the beginning. In the beginning was the Word. That creative essence is within you. Christ is this creative essence within you. And as the ancients have documented, there is a resurrection and rebirth of that Christ that takes place within each person at the appointed time." From the chapter in the book God-Man entitled The Antichrist, in which Dr. Carey is referring to the Roman Emperor Constantine and his manipulation of the Bible to hide the truth of man, he writes, "Primitive Christians, the Essenes, fully realized and taught the great truth that Christ was a substance, an oil, or ointment, contained especially in the spinal cord, consequently in all parts of the body, as every nerve in the body is directly or indirectly connected with the wonderful river that flows out of Eden, the upper brain, to water the garden. The early Christians knew that the scriptures, whether written in ancient Hebrew or the Greek, were allegories, parables, or fables based on the human body, fearfully and wonderfully made. These adepts knew that the secretion, gray matter creative, that issues, secretes, from the cerebrum, was the source and cause of the physical expression called man, and they knew that the river of Jordan was symbolized in the spinal cord, and that the Dead Sea was used to symbolize the sacred plexus at the base of the spinal column, where the Jordan spinal cord ends, typifying the entrance of Jordan into the Dead Sea. When the oil, ointment, is crucified, to crucify means to increase in power 1,000-fold, not to kill. It remains 2.5 days, the moon's period in a sign, in the tomb, cerebellum, and on the third day ascends to the pineal gland that connects the cerebellum with the optic thalamus, the central eye in the throne of God, that is the chamber overtopped by the hollow, hallowed, caused by the curve of the cerebrum, the most high of the body, which is the temple of the living God, the living, vital substance, which is a precipitation of the breath of life, breathed into man, therefore the holy, whole ghost, or breath. The pineal gland is the pinnacle of the temple. In regards to the pineal gland, he states earlier in his book, The pineal gland is directly referred to in the Bible as Mount Peniel, where Jacob wrestled with the angel of the Lord. In Hebrew, the